Hey, it's Louise and welcome back to another Louise Looks. Still virtual, of course, but hey ho. On today's show, I had the pleasure of chatting with Scott Lewis from Clue Records and Tony Ereira from Hatch Records, who have now merged together to create this really innovative record label project. Now, they've been working with some great bands, they've got some awesome releases planned for the rest of this year, and there's a great development side of this as well, which I think is just pretty awesome, especially during this time when the music industry has taken such a huge knock during lockdown. So we have a chat, I got the inside scoop on the project and what's to come. Let's check it out. So hey, it's Louise Schofield. I'm now joined with Tony and Scott, who have just merged together to make this awesome collaboration. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys.
Thanks, Louise. Thanks for having us.
Before we get into everything, how has lockdown been for record label for you? How's it been kind of for both of you?
It's been a strange mix of, there've been really good, positive parts. We put out the Team Picture record over lockdown, their debut album, and it was good to have something to focus on personally, like keeping you going and a bit of momentum. That was really, really, really positive. And it seemed like people were online, so they were looking for stuff, they wanted entertaining. So that it worked really well in that way. And stuff like Bandcamp, Fee Wave, and Fridays, like people invested in what we were doing and were looking to support smaller labels or independents and stuff like that. So yeah, that was really good. But then it's really difficult because with all of that, people looking for stuff, there's a lot more noise and there's a lot more stuff going on. And the world's in crisis. Do you know what I mean? It's like a really hard thing that people are having to deal with, and it's finding the balance between art and showing that off and also being sensitive to people. So yeah, I think it's just that feels like an apt description of the whole thing for everyone, doesn't it? Like there's ups, there's downs. Like it's just so hard to. You've got to check in with yourself a lot, I think, to try to understand where you are.
It's really important, and it is having this technology to be able to do that, because that's all we kind of have at the moment, isn't it? The kind of face-to-face interaction, which is just weird, and we've had all this technology. So how did this come together? So obviously Hatch Records and Clue Records, they're now one big thing, which is great. So how did that all come about, and what inspired you to kind of get together?
I guess, well, so Scott and I have known each other for many, many years, and I've certainly respected Clue and Scott from a long time. I won't put words into his mouth. And we started. There's another label that I run called Complain Me, and Scott and I work there. And it was kind of really through that we just, we got on really, really well. We have a lot of the same ideas and objectives, and also we just kind of wanted to make something positive out of the two labels, because the north of England, especially, is not exactly kind of full of lots and lots of labels. So we just I think I threw it out to Scott thinking that he was going to say nah.
Yeah, I think it was like a weird. I think there was something to come up where like an opportunity come up for me, but it wasn't on paper. Could have been all right, but wasn't quite right. And Tony was like, "Well, as an alternative, what about we join Hatch and Clue together?" And like Tony says, we worked together on Come Play With Me for a little while now, so we'd sussed each other out. We get on all right. We can be nice to each other. We can be horrible to each other. So it's like, it feels like we're comfortable. We know how we work. Yeah. So yeah, why not? Let's give it a go. So
it was really through Team Picture as well, wasn't it? Because we both, I guess, we both loved Team Picture for a long time. Both worked them for a long time, and we did an EP release towards the end of last year, which was a mix. It was a split between Clue and Hatch. And this just seemed like a really nice natural progression to bring the two together.
I think that's it, especially if you have the same bands in mind, like you were just saying, like, I mean, you're in that part of the country, you both are, so you would know the same bands and you know how they're all growing and things. So it's nice that you've got that kind of mutual love for the same artists as well, which is, I think, is really nice. But Team Picture, that's great. I mean, like, that album is awesome as well from Team Picture. It's really, really cool. I love that 360 video. Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, they worked with a guy called 3D Pete, which is, I don't know if that's his birth name, but I hope it is. But yeah, it's amazing. It's just like going into, especially like with lockdown and talking about like Zoom calls, and that's like, it's a chance to visit a sort of like, to me, it's like something on the Starship Enterprise. It's like some sort of space sci-fi weird room, and you can just go and get lost in it. And yeah, it's incredible what they've done. And they're more than a musical band. They are an artistic, just the way they're, all of their heads work combined together is just absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, it's absolute pleasure to work with them. Yeah,
there's so many layers to their music, which is really nice. But you work with like a nice range of artists as well. But I was liking having a look on Clue Records. I like how you've got like a playlist, and you've got the Clooney Tunes playlist, which is a fantastic name, I must say. I love that. But it's nice you're kind of supporting like loads of bands. You might be working with them, but it's nice you're still supporting like all these new musicians coming. So is that quite important for you guys?
Definitely, yeah. I think it's a massive thing. It's what I think that's part of what me and our approach, me and Tony, has always been. I think it's why we work so well and come play with me, and then it's come to this, is because we're always up for collaboration and working together. And it's like we will succeed by working together, not seeing somebody as like a competition or yeah, somebody to work to beat. Do you know what I mean? So for us, like we've got a monthly show on Amazing Radio, and that for us, it's a 2-hour show. It's a chance for us to we'll play some of our own releases, but I love listening to music, finding new artists. So it's like that's our window to be like, right, this is what we're into at the minute, what we're listening to. It's like it's a chance for us to shout about stuff that either we can't release, it's released with somebody else, but it's just putting that sort of spotlight on it to be able to shout about cool stuff, because there's a lot of good stuff going on out there.
It's absolutely fantastic stuff everywhere. Every nook and cranny of the country has got something cool coming out, hasn't it? Which is just great. But I mean, Come Play With Me, is that kind of like more of an artist kind of development scheme to kind of like help them get to the next level?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, that's exactly what it is, Louise. And I guess we kind of made it the shop window as a 7-inch singles club. I mean, we do a bunch of other stuff. We run a magazine. We were promoting and doing live events. Obviously, that's pretty much on hold at the moment.
Yeah.
We do a lot of diversity type activity for marginalised people in music. So it is pretty much a development organisation.
That's amazing. So have you got kind of like a plan of how you'd like to kind of develop the artists? Is there kind of like a plan throughout the year where you go, right, okay, this is the kind of way we're going to go about it? Or is it kind of like just seeing who comes in and how you kind of go from there?
Yeah, it was, I suppose, because the way it works is like an open call out. So artists can submit their music and they go through an independent judging. So people will check them out. It goes through a couple of submission rounds. So it's a really nice, fair and open way. The judges are always different. So it's very diverse musically. And yeah, so once we come out with 2 artists usually for each 7-inch release, one on either side. So that from there we sort of work out, it's a bit of working out what they know, what they're good at, and where their sort of gaps are as well. And we've got a bit of a sort of an approach where we know what we're going to do with them, but it's always taking into account what will benefit them. And it's essentially it's a bit like a stepping stone, isn't it, Tony? We see ourselves, we want to enable them to become more confident and understand bits of the industry and releasing music and just really sort of think through those things with them. So it seems to go really well, and yeah, the artists seem to benefit from it, and we've released some amazing stuff through that. So yeah, it's really good.
I think it's nice you've got that strand as well, because you're not only, putting music out there and getting it out to people, but you're also developing them, because I think that's really important, especially at bands at more of the beginning of their career. I think it's nice that you can help them mould their journey, because it is such an all-over journey, isn't it? It's all lefts and rights and a bit all.
Yeah, and as Scott says, there isn't just a simple progression. It's not like, do this and do that, and then that's going to instantly lead to the next step. It's always so variable, and they always come with completely different sets of experiences, and some of them might, it's usually their first physical release, but some of them have worked with press agents before, successfully or otherwise. Some of them have had interest from managers, promoters, and like. But as Scott says, just trying to work out what it is they're looking for and where we can help. And the idea is we just try to take them on a journey that's, like Scott says, sets them up nicely for whatever it is they're going to do next.
Yeah. So have you got kind of like a plan for like the future of Clue Records? Kind of where you want it to end up, or is it still kind of in its kind of working out phase at the moment?
It's a bit of both. So we've got the next thing we're releasing. We've got an EP coming from Van Houten, which is this. That's called Home Alone. So that's like the next immediate release. That I'm really excited about that. And then we turn 8 in November this year. So
amazing.
that's So it's like which is weird. Like that seems like an old thing. 8 years old for doing. I don't believe I've been doing it the label that long, but it's weird how it's coming around to that. So we're sort of plotting and thinking about ways we can do that. Maybe a bit of, again, like a fan club sort of subscription thing, but where there's a lot of benefits and bonuses where you can get from like the Clue artists and from us, but also shouting about other stuff that we love and sort of pointing out, pointing in people in the directions of other stuff that's going on in the north, across the country, but trying to like shout, we just want to create a really good community and be part of the community that we're in, like try to be advocates for what's going on.
Yeah, and you're part of the independent label market mentor scheme as well.
Yeah.
So what does that entail?
We went down last year, didn't we, Tony? To it was a really, really nice. Where was the place that we went to?
Oh, King's. Is it King's Place? Round the back of King's Cross.
Yeah, it's like it's
Oh,
beautiful
nice.
open market. It's like it's really really nice around there. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we did like an actual stall there, and we're selling records and stuff and chatting to people. It was really really good experience. And from there on, yeah, they've put us on a mentoring scheme this year. So I've had like some. It would have been obviously with COVID and everything going on. It's been like just a lot of sort of meetings and talking to people online. But yeah,
Yeah.
speaking to different people in parts of the industry, getting involved with a special Bandcamp fee waiver day, where they were pushing out stuff, and just general sort of support and promotion and sort of, yeah, just trying to like plug us into things. So yeah, it's been really really great. It's been they're a good team, so it's a small team, but a very very positive and hard working one. So it's been great to be associated with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it all just grows onto your wings then, doesn't it? And it just kind of makes it even that kind of nice thing. But I love the kind of artist development thing. I'm such a big fan of that. Because the wedding present, Tony, that was the last record you put out on Hatch Records, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's funny actually because it would have been our last release for Record Store Day, but because of what's happened with Record Store Day for obvious reasons, it was postponed and now it's coming in September. But yeah, that's the final Hatch release.
Oh, how are you feeling about that? Is it quite sad, or is it quite like an end of an era? Or
it's the end of an era, but I'm really excited. I'm really positive. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just feels really really good. Like we said, it just felt like there's an opportunity to bring these two things together and make something that's big, bigger than the sum of the parts, hopefully.
yes,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, it is just making this bigger picture. But I think collaboration is the key, isn't it? Because a lot of times people think maybe I'll just go and do this on my own. But really, if you have this group of people that are so passionate as you guys are, you're just making this thing grow, which is great. I mean, some of the bands you've worked with as well include Scott, like Yowl, and you've worked with the Avalanche Party and brilliant bands like that. And these are all really exciting bands coming out of the UK and hitting America. I mean, Avalanche Party are starting to get over to America a little bit, aren't they, and stuff? So it's
Yeah.
so exciting.
Yeah, they've done South by Southwest. Like Yowl have been out to like across Europe. Crush Beaks went on tour with Ride across Europe. I went out with them for 3 weeks at the start of this year to do that, which is absolutely incredible. So it's and it's been nice that we've grown from like some Leeds artists, and I'm from further up in the northeast, so we've worked with some artists from around there as well. But some London artists, like when we first started doing that, it's like then it feels that is a progression because I don't know, it automatically feels like London is the capital, and that's where there's a massive music scene going on there. And if we can take on some of these bands and be doing really good stuff with them, and incredible bands that I'm sure there's other people out there looking at and would like to work with, and yeah, that's been a really positive thing for us. And I think there's a lot more coming. And it's good that we have a family feel to it still. We're in different locations with those artists, and they are different. A lot of them haven't met, but like we sort of try to keep everybody in together with each other, and like I'll let the other artists know when somebody else has got a release, and do you know what I mean? So that at least we've got like even that little community between ourselves.
Yeah, it's nice to know your label mates, isn't it? Just to say
Yeah.
yeah, especially if one big show. One day there'll be a big show, and hopefully they'll all be together.
We did it a few years ago when we had a smaller roster, but yeah, we managed to do. We put 9 bands on. I think we only had like 4 artists signed to the label at that point in time, but it was amazing. It was just like to pull it off and do it in one day. Yeah, I think we might need a couple of days at this point, but yeah, that would be maybe that's something to look forward to. When we turn 10, maybe that'll do it. And I'd like to do it on a boat. For some reason I just want to go. I want to have a boat party that's. You've sorted that now, Louise.
That's I mean, just give me a bit of commission. Yeah. I'm joking.
Yeah, you've got your free ticket. That's
us. Yeah. There we go. Sorted. That's good. I mean, if you can't have a party on a boat for your 10th birthday, when can you?
Exactly.
So you just gotta do you. So what kind of what do you look for in bands? Is there anything in particular that you look for when newer emerging bands comes to you, or do you kind of look for anything in particular?
No, the first thing is just loving them. Like it's the music. If I hear something in the music, it's like, right, this is what is this? Who's this artist? Why have I not heard of them before? How have I just come across them now? And it's like sort of looking at the teams or anybody else that works with them, and it like that doesn't matter either. If they've got a team in place, great. If not, it doesn't matter. We can sort of fill in the gaps if we need to. But yeah, it starts with love and passion for the music, and then working out a bit of speaking to them, seeing how they are, where they're at, and what they've got going on. I think you've got to be able to get on with them and have a good sort of working relationship. That's massively important because you just want to be able to know that you can work together and do that. So, but that's the core of it. I think being good live, having a good attitude, all of that. But
I was going to say, I've just had ambitions that, Scott, right? Because we know we're going to work really, really hard with them, and we just want to see them doing the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think because because you do get all those aspects, don't you? You get a record label and you also get the support. I mean, that's like, that doesn't happen very often. You don't get the development side of things. So I think that's what's really, really exciting about this. And I think a lot of artists are going to be really, really intrigued.
We listen to stuff, and if it isn't right to be working with, or we don't have the capacity to work with it, that's what the radio show's for, or that's what our playlists are for. It's like, we will try and shout about stuff that we love either way. It's not all self-serving. Like, we definitely want to be sort of supporting other stuff that's out there that's really good.
Yeah, and you've got those platforms to do it, and you're music lovers, so that's all you need. You've just got the music
it.
loving platforms. That's the way it goes. Oh, well, guys, thank you so much for chatting to me today. And honestly, it all sounds so exciting, and it's so refreshing to hear that there's all these layers to this, because it's just going to be such a big thing. I think it's just going to grow into something really, really big.
Thank you, Louise.
Good. Yeah, but thanks for having us. Thanks for
welcome.
speaking to us.
Thank you.